It is a dark, rainy day outside today, so I have to use a light today, unfortunately, which is it's pretty warm light, but I think we can get away with it just for today. So I have to mix up some ink today, and we're going to continue with this print that we're working on. Let me pull up the stream. I'm still using this image as a reference. Let's pull up the stream here. I want to test the microphone. Test, 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 test. The microphone. Test, 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 test. Okay, so the microphone's working. Sorry I have to do that. So we're going to mix up some color first. I'm thinking I'm just going to do this in two separate impressions. This bottom section first. Last time I did, I used a gradation. This time I think I'm just going to make it a flat color. Getting lazy. So I'm thinking I'm going to need a little bit of blue. This is the green I used yesterday. It's still wet. I'm going to mix a little bit of blue into it. And I have a little bit of this like other color. It's a little blue. And then I have some green. This green isn't, it's pretty dry, so let's get some new green. I have this color called Green Earth. It seems to work well. A little blue for me. I'm going to move that out of the way and take part of it. Take part of this green. I want to add a little bit of black. It's hard to see the color with this light on. That's the problem with working at nighttime or today is, let's see what it looks like with the light off. It's very dark. It's not too bad for the stream, I guess, but wow, it's very dark today. You can actually see pretty well on camera here, but I can't see at all. So I have a, this was the color I used yesterday. So I could put a piece down, get an idea if that's the right color that we want. Kind of happy with that. I'm going to mix in some transparency with this. Transparent base. I need some paper towels. I have to grab a couple paper towels. Hold on one second. Oh, there's one here. So it's raining and windy today. The next, I checked the weather, the next like 10 days in New York City is like beautiful sunny weather. So we need some rain anyways. I'm going to think that this color is going to work. So we'll find out here in a minute. So I added some transparent base in there, which will make the colors a little bit more transparent. Let's roll this ink out. I'm going to roll it first on this. Not sure. Not sure if it's going to work. Let's see. I don't want it to be as dark as the last color scheme. Good morning. Good morning, Matt. So let's take our first print here. See if this color works. I feel like it's going to be too yellow, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Today I'll be using just the traditional Baron. I'm not pressing too hard. Yeah, that's kind of nice. It's a subtle green. You don't want it to be too dark because the darker key block is going to be on top. So that's looking good for me. I do want these trees to be a little bit different than the ones up here. So we'll just have to change this one up here a little bit. We'll change this color. Maybe we'll make it a little bit lighter in value. Yeah, let's just go with this. And this block is close to the registration and close to this edge. So I have to be careful when I put this paper in so I don't get the smudge. This should go pretty quick today. I'm thinking about the color that I want to print the key block. I don't think I want to print it just black. Well, I kind of have to. I have to just print in a dark gray because there's a lot of the same colors in the rock formation and the trees. So I guess it'll just be a dark gray. Good afternoon, Pam. Today seems like it's going to be a quiet stream. I don't have much to talk about today. I could tell you I didn't get that job at the Met. That's one thing that's news that I mentioned on the stream before. I think there was 13 people going for one position. I got an email yesterday telling me that they went with somebody else for the position. So that kind of stinks, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. It was a good experience interviewing at the Met for a gallery technician position. It was a good opportunity. It was a union position, so there's really good benefits, but the schedule was pretty strict. It was like from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. That would have been really hard for me to coordinate with my family's schedule, my son's school schedule and sports, and it would have been a real big sacrifice on everyone's part. My wife has a variable schedule. She works all different times, so it would have been really difficult to coordinate, and we would have had to have some sort of childcare in the morning early. And I don't think my son would have been happy with waking up at 5:30 a.m. and going somewhere for an hour and a half before school starts. So I guess it just wasn't meant to be. So I'm keeping my options open and still looking for something else. Really needed something that's flexible. Would be ideal. Something with a flexible schedule. I would have taken that job probably because the benefits were so good, but it would have just been an amazing opportunity. But I'm a true believer that things happen for reasons, unknown reasons. So just waiting for that next opportunity. Matt is laying down his key block in a gray color. This is with oil pigments or with Mokahanga? So got 3 more. This is going to be a quick little color, and then we'll change this color for the top portion of the trees. Probably lighten this green color, because the values in the sky there are lighter. What are you mixing with it for transparency? The same thing that I'm mixing with, or are you using something else? Matt, I'm using the transparent base. Well, I'm not sure. There might be other things to mix with it to make it more transparent. Somebody mentioned something in the past. I didn't write it down. But I know there's other mediums that you can use. You're going to have to send us a link of your work, Matt. Because we're all curious to see what you're working on. Or at least send something to me. I'd like to see what you're doing. You don't have to. Yeah, I'm using that Gamblin, the Gamblin transparent base. It's pretty much just the oil without the pigment into it. Still has some sort of drying agent mixed in with it, but all right, last one. And then we'll mix this, change our color a little bit, do the top portion of the trees. Just have to move these prints down one. In the rack, whoops, I just dropped one. Luckily it landed face up. Let's see here. So I can make this either lighter, maybe a little bit cooler or more grayish color, or maybe add a little red, make it a little warmer. Either way, I'm going to change up the color a little bit. So I'm going to take this color away, I'm going to take about half of it. Add a little bit of lighter gray color. Maybe just a little of this red. Because these pine trees have like they're not a bright green. It's more of a reddish green or a warm green. I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it right over my other color. The value is about, it's about the same. I'm going to go lighter. Just going to mix in some more of this lighter color. Just reusing all this ink from yesterday. Yeah, that's lighter. I think that'll be nice. Let's roll with that for now. I need a scraper tool and a couple more paper towels. Hold on one second. Okay. Let's clean up this mess. Yeah, today is a lazy day in New York City. It's a good day to take a nap. It's kind of how I'm feeling right now. So let's move this out of the way so we don't damage it. We have to clean off this roller slightly. I have a bunch of scrap paper here. I'm not going to clean it up all the way. Just a little bit here. And also, I can also run this let's see. Here's a piece of paper from yesterday. Just run the ink off of this a couple times. So we don't run into any problems. It'll be registered from the same registration, so that's okay. So here we go. Let's roll this out. This new color. It's lighter in value. I added some red to it, so it neutralizes it, and I added some kind of a cool gray, which is some of that color from the rock. Hello, ratfish. Again, I'm not doing a gradation on this one. I'm just keeping the tones flat. So there's a gradation in the sky, a gradation on the ground plane, and a gradation in the rock shadow mass in this print. I think in the last print I put gradations in everything. It was just a little too much going on. So we're simplifying this one. This is more of a gray, kind of overcast, hazy day. So there won't be such a dramatic change in light and value. I haven't really looked at my reference, my color reference, which was that painting by Twachtman. But I kind of have that image memorized in my brain. But our color scheme is different than his. So let's go, let's see how this works. Hopefully we like this green. All right, it's not bad. It's just a subtle difference than the bottom. The bottom one has a little bit more green or yellow in it. This was a little bit lighter. But yeah, I'm liking that feeling overall. Much more subtle. Rafa. Rafa or Rafa? Rafa. I'm guessing. Where are you from, Rafa? I forget. I need to write down these notes for all the people. I remember Matt's down. Matt's down in Tennessee. I know where Pam is. I just like to know where the people are watching from. You don't have to share, it's not important. Just curious is all. Yeah, I kind of want to print the key block to see how this works now with the key block. I actually like this color scheme just by itself, without the key block. Yeah, I kind of like this one just by itself. But I'm going to print the key block. Maybe I'll just do it after this. Just get it all done. I think I could print one color over the next with the oils. I don't think they'll smudge or we'll run into any problems. But it could lift the pigment off. We can at least do one maybe, just to see what it looks like. Yeah, we must be getting, you must be getting weather from that hurricane down there still. That's probably what we're getting too. Yeah, we needed the rain really bad in the Northeast. It's been a very dry fall. Similar to last year, it's been very dry. So today we're getting a nice soaking, it rained all last night too, so we're getting a nice soaking rain. I'm thinking for the key block, I'm going to keep it like a dark gray, like a, you know, black would be a value of say 10, meaning the blackest color I can get out of the tube. I'm thinking of printing it at a level of like 8, which I could also add a little bit of pigment into it, where I could kind of warm it up or cool it down. I can make it more of like a purple kind of gray, or add red, make it a warmer gray. This color scheme reminds me of when the sky is like covered in smoke from wildfires from Canada. You get this warm, hazy appearance over the sky, and everything just turns to kind of orange and yellow. That's what this color scheme's reminding me of. Which is eerie and scary and weird, but it's also really beautiful. Like optically, it's really kind of interesting to have that experience and see things in that light. I mean, it's terrible to breathe for our health, but the one day it was really bad in New York City, and it was so, you couldn't see down more than like 5 blocks down the street. It was so bad. It was like post-apocalyptic. That's what this reminds me of, kind of. A few more to do. We have like 5 more to do. And I think I'll blot the first one with a little blotter paper. And then I'm going to just ink up that key block and see what it looks like. And if all goes well, I'm just going to print the key block too. And I'll be done with this print. So if you want to stick around for that or watch the replay. But yeah, today's kind of a lazy printing day. I'm going to get started on this evening scene. Same print, but I'm was looking at some Hasui prints that I wanted to reference for colors. I have to figure out where I want to position my moon in the sky. And then I have to think about if I want my moon to be a full moon so a lot of decisions to make. So tomorrow is Halloween. I don't have a costume. But we're gonna go trick-or-treating with my son and his friends, maybe some of his cousins. So that'll be fun. Get some candy. Three more. And it's really raining out there. We have two more to go. I think we're gonna try the key block. Might as well. What else do we have to do today? I have an hour until I need to run out for a quick errand. I did a little painting outside last night while my son was at soccer practice. I walked over, there's like a pond and there's a little forest area. I did this little painting, maybe 45 minutes. I did a little gouache painting. And man, the gouache is really hard to use because it dries much darker than it appears when it's wet. So it dries like a whole value or maybe even two darker. So you could put on a color like this gray and then it comes out like two values darker. So my painting overall just looks very dark. So I have to really get accustomed to the drying mixing the pigments, it's totally different. And I feel like watercolor dries lighter when the paper's wet and the pigment's wet. It's dark, and then when it dries, it's lighter. This is a water-based medium, but it's the opposite. But there's this tree in the park that hangs over this pond. I'll show it to you. There's this tree that hangs over this pond, and it's been falling, slowly falling down. Eventually it's going to fall into the water. This is the painting I did. Eventually this like tree, see, it hangs way over this pond here. And I tried to capture the fall colors. I guess it's very impressionistic, but I didn't have too much time. But even this yellow that's back here, this yellow horizontal, which was all like leaves on the shoreline, like in the water floating, when I put that yellow on, it looked really bright, like almost white, and it dries just so much darker. So everything's just darker. Part of my paper ripped because this part of the paper got stuck to my folder that I had it in, ripped the paper. So I can go up and touch that up. But I'm going to work into it a little bit and try to lighten the values in the background and in this water. But it was a fun little painting I did outside. I want to do more of this because I really enjoy it. It actually looks pretty good on the screen. The values look a little more interesting, I'd say. So that was my little plein air painting with gouache. I'm learning how to use gouache. But man, it was so relaxing just sitting there and painting that. I was listening to some music on my headphones. It's just a very relaxing experience. I used to paint outside a lot, long time ago. My undergrad, I got a minor in painting when I was in my undergrad program. My first painting class I took was during the summer semester. And my professor, I think our first class we were indoors and we just copied we made like a color chart and a color wheel and mixed up some colors, and then we copied a picture that we cut from we had to crop a little image of from a magazine and try to replicate it. And this is in oil paints. And then the next class, the rest of the semester was outside painting at different locations. And then I loved that class. We'd come back after our painting and we would critique our paintings indoors in the classroom. And I just really fell in love with painting outside. And I really fell away from it for many years. And I don't know why, because I really enjoyed it. Well, I moved to New York City, that's why. But there's no reason why I can't go out and paint in New York City. Oh no. There's a lot of parks. Go to Central Park. So that's the last one. Do we want to print the key block? Yes, we do. So bear with me. Just clean this up. Where is the key block? Here it is. We do want to print this because it's a raining day and we want to see what this is going to look like. So before we do the key block, hold on. Let's just want to take the first one or two. I'm just going to blot the ink off of this surface with a sheet of paper. So same thing as we did yesterday. Just holding the paper down so it doesn't move. So you just take a little bit of the ink off. There's not much ink on the paper, so that when we put that key block down, it won't pull up as much ink. So yeah, this is a nice image on its own. I like the softness and the value of it. So let's mix up a color for our key block. So we're going to get rid of all this green color. Just throw that on the palette over here somewhere. And what's nice about not putting any drying agent into our inks is that I can use them for 2-3 days, and I'm continuing to just recycle them and reuse them. So it's a more practical way of working with the ink. But when you need the ink to dry overnight because you're trying to get a print finished, then it's necessary to add some cobalt dryer or something similar. So what are we doing for key block? I think we're gonna do just like a cool gray. Cool gray. So I need white and I need black. Sorry about that. I have where is, where's the black? We're missing black. It's this color. It's green. I seem to have misplaced my cool black. That's not good. Oh, here it is. Blue black is what it's called. I'm going to add some transparent base into this as well. So how much white are we going to mix in here? This much? Let's see. Yeah, this white takes a lot of white to knock back this black in value. So you're going to need quite a bit, I think. I have a little bit left on this palette over here. I have this like gray color here I can use. I want to add a little bit of this crazy red into it. Which the red is called Earth Red. Kind of resembles alizarin crimson color. So this is not quite, this is a little bit too dark still. So I need more white in the mixture. probably getting closer to what we want. I don't know if you can see that. But our darkest color on the print so far was this green that we printed this morning, or first. So that's the value and the intensity. Kind of like that. Add a little more white, see what happens. I think we're gonna go with this. All right, hopefully this works. So we'll put our pigment away. So I like this thing because it comes in these cool little boxes and it keeps everything organized, and they stack well nicely under my cart there. So we're not going to use, we need a larger roller for this. Not the largest roller, but I think, let's bring back our key block here. I think we used this roller before, this is a nice size. Gets those edges nicely. Some dust on there. Let's see how this works. So we're getting 3 impressions today on this live stream. And we're finishing this print. Pretty cool gray. Added a little red. And it's a blue black, so it already has a very cool, but I can see a little bit of red in this pigment. Kind of shining in the light here. You see that a little, it's like a little bit of purple. And I'm thinking back on that Twachtman painting, there's a little bit of cool gray that's kind of like a purplish gray. And that's what I'm thinking about. But look at the difference when I put it on the block. You can see the value difference compared to the black that dried on the block. You see that? Subtle. I hope this isn't too light. It's easier to see on the block than the black. I can see where I've already laid down ink. And this light being overhead helps as well, because it's kind of sending off a little glare. Oops. All right. Here goes nothing. Here goes nothing. So cross your fingers that this works out. Take a deep breath. I need to put the pad underneath here. Hold on one second. This prevents the block from slipping. And here we go. Well, it's much softer, for sure. It's less intense. But do we want it to be a little darker? I don't know. I kind of like it soft. It's kind of reading well. Thanks, Loopy Tulips. Appreciate that. Yeah, do I want it darker? Let's pull up this other. So here I have here I just have one printed. That's like full intensity black against this here. Kind of like it the way it is. I feel like the black is too heavy. This is more subtle. This feels more like a Mokahanga print. Because the Mokahanga, when you print the black really soaks into the paper. We can look at their first print here now. Our first color scheme that we made. And this was just full on black. This is so intense. It's hard to see. It's just very intense. You can see what the difference is between two color schemes. So you get a lot of variety just from the same block set. Two different feelings. I'm gonna turn this light off. Hold on. Let's see if the camera can adjust to the light here. Now we have some real raking light. The question is, do we darken this gray? That's the question. Let me know in the comments below. Should we darken this gray a little bit, or should we leave it as it is? I'm not sure. I almost want it a little darker. Decisions. I feel like if it's a little darker, it could pop a little bit more. My comments. Yes, a little darker? Is that what you're saying? My comments on my chat on my screen just stopped dying. So the only ones that I'm seeing are on my phone. So I'm sorry if I missed anything. I think we need to go a little darker, people. Just a little bit. Not very much. Just one little section of black in there would be fine. But before we do that, I'm going to take this next print. Actually, I'll probably just print it on top of... I'll just print it on... No, I'll do a new print so we can compare. Can always go back in time. So I'm just going to blot off the ink off of this paper again. This is a new print, by the way. So we just take the ink off just a little bit. You can see there. Yeah, I think it needs to go a little darker. So let's try it. And if it doesn't work out, it's on Pam. She's making the call. She's making the decisions here. No, I agree with you, Pam. I think it needs to be a little darker. Not too much, though. Just a little bit. Could also ink the block up more. So let's take all of this back. I'm not going to need all this ink. A little more. That's it. Yeah, this is kind of new to me, so printing this gray instead of a black is kind of new to me, so we're learning here, learning together. So I'm just going to drag some of that out, and then I'm going to just clean up. I have a little bit here, let's see. I still have this color sample here. I don't know if you can see that. It's hard to tell the value, but it's went from this to that. Just gonna clean up here. right? Let's try again. Their new color. What time is it? 1:21. All right, let's try again. See how this goes. Again, here's our prints going down. Right, let's see. Yeah, much better, I think. It's good. It's darker. It's not black, but it's not, let's compare it to this one. This one's too light. Good eye, Pam, good eye. So it's just a little bit darker, but not crazy black, intense. Yeah, everything reads so much nicer. So now the question is, can we print on top of this one without messing up the registration? That's the question. So what I could do is, there's still ink on the block. I could just put it down, or I could just try to ink and do it again. Let's try. Let's see how good my registration is. So we could potentially be ruining this print, but that's okay because it's the one that had the smudge on it anyways. All right, here's the first one that we did, which was too light. going down. Just be careful not to get my fingers on the see how good my registration is. I really don't see any issues, so pretty good. So we just did 2 colors, 2 key blocks on top of each other without any issues. So that's the finished print. So I guess I'm just going to keep going and finish this off. So feel free to what time is it actually? I could do at least one more. Let's do one without blotting off the ink and see if that affects the print at all. Because I don't really want to have to do that for each one. So now I'm thinking, I wish I just made this gray of the rock just a little darker, maybe the value that's here. That's the only thing that I'm wishing I did differently, but that's okay because this rock is it's very light colored. The rock is really that bright in some areas, especially this part of the cliff. So we didn't blot this paper. So let's see how it does. Yeah, it's working just fine. There we go, we have another print. I'm really happy with this one. Really like the color scheme. Looks a lot different than the source I was using to reference the colors, but I feel like it has the same kind of feel. So when we pull that up, so this was the image I was using as a reference. It's much more cool. I'm really interested in this painting. There's something about it that I really enjoy. I want to try to keep, and this is much warmer. You're getting a really crappy, let's turn this off, read of the color because that light was on. Anyways, kind of has the same-ish feel. Well, I guess I'm going to end this now. It's been going on 90 minutes. That's an hour and a half. And I'm going to continue working here until I have to leave in about 30 minutes. So this is another finished print here on the live stream. This one we did really quick. So the next one we're going to do, it's going to be the same image. I'm going to put a moon in the sky. Somewhere probably up here, overlapping with the limbs of this tree. And we're going to be doing a lot of blue and cool blues and purples. So that should be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one. So thanks for joining again, and I appreciate everyone's support. So we'll see you next time. What's today? Today's Thursday, so tomorrow's Friday. I'll most likely see you tomorrow. So have a good night, and see you then. Bye, Pam. Bye, everyone.